Blessings BookTube here with a tier list for you. Um, Following up on the recent video which I did about Nigerian literature, I felt duty bound as a Francophile to offer a Francophone Africa literature selection as well. In this case, I've chosen Senegal, which is one of the countries I've lived in West Africa. And we've got 10 books here that represent 10 very wonderful authors from Senegal. And we're going to put them into, S, A, B, C, D tier list that you're familiar with. The S in this case is superior. It's going to stand for Bismillah. This is the Arabic phrase for a welcome. Also, we would use this at the start of meals. So sort of little grace, it means like in the name of God. So I thought that was a nice one for the top tier. I'm going to do the African languages that I know from Senegal here. Unfortunately, I don't know Wolof, which is a dominant language in Senegal. So I don't have a Wolof offering for my tiers, but I did my best. So the next is A is Allah Yafin, which means God is big, which is something you would shout when something wonderful happens. So, that's in Fulfulde or Pular, the herder language from across West Africa. Ben Kadi is in the Manding, Bambara, Jula language group, and that stands for understanding is sweet, which they had written on the in the banco above my door of my mud hut in my village when I was in Peace Corps there. And the following up on that, the C level, which is there's no bad here, right? The C level is still sweet, so c'est doux means it's sweet in French. So this is our French word that even non-French speakers know. Lots of French sayings like this, c'est doux. It's the equivalent of Kadi, Ben Kadi, Ben understanding Ben. Kadi is sweet. C'est doux is French for it's sweet. And the last is D, which is not a bad thing either. It's just for a work that I've not read. So this is Dongodon, which is the beginning of a proverb, Dongodon, Tudu Beta, La Kolila. Every day the ear, Tudu, goes to school. La Kolila, you can hear the influence of the French there, L'école. And so it's à découvrir, for me to discover still, for me to read still. You could also have put here Doni Doni, Doni Doni, Sogoni Basojo, little by little bird built its nest, whatever you might like for Doni Doni is very common as well saying. And the funny thing about the Tulu there for ear, Tubab, which you'll hear, Tubabu, you might hear Westerners called in, foreigners called in West Africa. That just means it's not anything bad at all. It just means red ear. So like you're, sunburned. Okay, so let's start off with a Diop. There are several authors here with the last name of Diop. And I want to start with one of the first works I read over in West Africa, which was the stories of Amadou Koumba. Here we go. Now, since my memory of this is very vague, I'm going to just put it right in the middle. I do remember them being amazing, excellent stories, but probably there was some better than others. This is by BOUBACAR, BIRAGO Diop, who is Diop, I believe is a Wolof last name. But Hamadou Koumba is his griot, his storyteller for his family. And so he just sort of transcribes these stories here, and it's quite a great work to get you familiar with West African literature. So I thought that's a good place to start. Next, something also that I read when I was over there, so my memories of it are a little bit vague. Got to put this in the top realm because no less than Chinua Achebe himself said this was the great African novel. This is Ambiguous Adventure, Aventure Ambiguë. And this is by Sheikh Hamadou Kane. And it's about a parent sending their son off to study in France to try to come to grips with this new outside force in their world. And it's about the kids' adventure and discovering this French culture and feeling a citizen of the world, but also ambiguous, feeling torn. As he says at one point, I think I am too.
So that's a great one. Check that one out for sure. The next is, let's see, we'll just go with the mother of Senegalese literature, Hamadou, where is it? Aminata. Aminata Salfal. Now, I'm pretty sure Salfal is a Wolof name. And she wrote The Beggar's Strike, God is Big, where they try to shut down the municipal forces, try to get rid of all the beggars out of a town and the chaos that ensues. It strikes home, I think, when you realize that they're trying to do this because of tourists. So it's kind of sobering, those of us who like to tour the world, to think about those nefarious effects. So that's a great one. Check her out. She is, as I said, kind of the mother of Senegalese literature. In fact, this won the Noma Prize. Okay, let's see. No, I lie. It was So Long a Letter that won the Noma Prize. MIRIAME. Here we go. This can also go right up here. So she wrote this epistolary novel. She's corresponding with her friend in her widowhood. She has long single wife to a man who eventually took a second wife, and all the effects of that, and of being a widow, and the difficulties of being a woman in a more or less still traditional society, but yet the real devastating part is when they're also like reminiscing back to their student days and what, their hopes and dreams for the future around the time of independence in Senegal, and what they look forward to for the future. It's really poignant. Okay, so we've got now I got to have a Traore, right? So this is ABIBATOU Traore. By the way, my African name was Traore. So this is The Knight and His Shadow. So I think this probably is going to be up here too. So The Knight and His Shadow is it's a quest. He's got to find this woman, quote unquote, before it's too late. The woman is telling stories in a doorway, but inside the doorway is dark. She doesn't know who she's telling stories to, and it becomes sort of more and more mysterious. Yeah. So that's a great one. He also wrote a book, for those of you who want something more contemporary, serious, social realist that you might like. I haven't read it, so I don't know actually about it, but it's Sidogomy. So he wrote about the marriage structures of like polygamy and whatnot in West Africa today under the shadow of SIDA, which is the French ordering for AIDS, AIDS, SIDA. So that might be of interest to some of you as well. Okay, this brings us to two of the titans. We'll do, let's do Senghor first. Senghor is definitely, Bismillah, is the grandfather, the doyen, the dean of Senegalese literature. But he is primarily a poet. And so any of his poetry books, I would have put it up here. Black Oedipus, anything like that. This one is a story book, so I'll just put it here in the middle again with Amadou Koumbas. And it's the Lievre, Leuk le Lievre. Leuk le Lievre is the hare, Leuk, or, rare rabbit, is the trickster. The big trickster of West Africa is a rabbit. Besides, of course, you might have heard of Anansi the spider as well. So these are trickster's tales. And so, yeah. Next, we have Ousmane Sembène, who is better known as a movie maker. In fact, we read this work of his for the Reading the Globe Classics group in BookTube last year. This is called God's Bits of Wood. I'm putting it down in Say-Do only because this is a pretty social realist work. It's actually considered his masterpiece, but I would argue the others would go higher. For me, I'm just not huge
hugely into social realism. It's about a railroad strike on the railroad between Senegal and Mali. Mali and Senegal were briefly federated at independence, and that fell apart, and it's all of that falling apart stuff. He also did one, by the way, SEMBENE did one about Dockers, a book about Dockers. And he did also some that I would definitely be putting in Bismillah ala Yafin, which would be like Mandabi, the mandate. So this poor guy trying to get his money order cashed. It's like such a quest. And that he also was made into a great movie. Xala, another great satire, Xala. That was definitely also a book, would be up there, Yala Ala Yafin. Some of his other movies, Mulada I've seen, Fatkine I haven't. Borum Karet is on Criterion for sure. So check him out. He's really great. Okay, getting down there. Now, you've got to, of course, put Sundiata, the epic, here at the top, right? So Sundiata is the Lion King, born without the use of his legs, had blacksmiths make him some braces. The boys of his co-mothers that used to tease him, they couldn't bring leaves for the sauce to his mom. He goes and rips a whole baobab tree out by its roots and delivers it to his mom and sort of announces, I am going to be a big deal. If you don't know what a baobab tree looks like, picture an upside down tree. Not easy to rip out of the ground. It's the trees that are in A Little Prince, by the way. Okay, so this is called, you see the English title here is an epic of Mali. It's a manding epic is the French rendering of this. Don't be confused by that. The Mali in this case is not the modern country Mali, it's the empire of Mali. There were several empires, Sorai Empire, Mali Empire, Ghana Empire, all across West Africa. So the empire of Mali extended all through Senegal and Mali, of course, and on. So that is an epic, an amazing story. Check that one out for sure, not to be missed. Actually, you probably pretty much got to start with that. And now we're down to, oh, I'm sorry. Whoops. This is Traore. Sorry. This is Traore, which is the one who wrote the Sita one. Sorry. The other book, who did I say was Traore? The Knight and His Shadow. I lied. Knight and His Shadow is by one of the Diops. I'm so sorry. That's by BOUBACAR Diop. Now we have Samba Le Fou. This is the one by Traore, and who wrote the Sita one. And he wrote this book, Samba Le Fou, that is Samba the crazy, Samba the dumb in the sense of not speaking, and this little girl who tries to help him. It's very sweet. And it's definitely Ben Kadi, Understanding is Sweet, which leaves only, of course, the one I haven't read, the final Diop, the one you've probably heard of on BookTube, David Diop, At Night All Blood is Black. So there you have it, folks. I hope this has encouraged you to want to check out Senegalese literature, and may your understanding be sweet.